Okay, so today we continue with our new courses. Okay, but we don't use anything. This one. Okay, now we will learn a new course about develop the innovation idea for the new company. Okay, sound interesting. A lot of evaluation. Yeah. Developing innovative idea for the new companies. Okay, review the course.
Hello, and thank you for your interest in our free online offering in developing innovative ideas in new companies. I'm James Green, and I'll be the instructor for the course. Since 2004, I've been at the University of Maryland, active in developing entrepreneurship programs, teaching courses in entrepreneurship and technology commercialization, and working with teams to develop and launch real companies. As a practicing entrepreneur, I'm also intimate with the challenges and opportunities of starting new ventures, and we'll be bringing some of these life lessons into our course as well. Within our course, our focus is on the first. Hello, and thank you for your interest in our free online offering in developing innovative ideas in new companies. I'm James Green, and I'll be the instructor for the course. Since 2004, I've been at the University of Maryland, active in developing entrepreneurship programs, teaching courses in entrepreneurship and technology commercialization, and working with teams to develop and launch real companies. As a practicing entrepreneur, I'm also intimate with the challenges and opportunities of starting new ventures, and we'll be bringing some of these life lessons into our course as well. Within our course, our focus is on the first steps of entrepreneurship, that of identifying opportunities, assessing those opportunities, and determining the first steps towards making them a reality. We'll use a business model generation approach, whereby we'll evaluate opportunities to build true value for customers, integrate strategic alliances, and also determine what are the fundamentals of getting the idea up and off the ground. With that, too, we'll spend significant time talking about customers and customer understandings, differentiating needs from wants, and thinking about what are the core values that you want to deliver in your firm and how to segment your market accordingly. We will culminate in the course by the first steps in developing a business plan. With that, we'll discuss sources of funding, how to raise the right type of money at the right time, without compromising what it is that you're trying to do, and also without giving away too much equity in the firm at the same time. So with that, we hope that you join us for our upcoming course in developing innovative ideas in new companies, and we hope to see you online.
Okay. Welcome developing something. Okay. Our approach. Explore how to identify and develop a best idea into a recommended exam how to identify behavioral real customer needs and the good method for developing solid business model for the creation company. Okay. Book the opportunity analysis canvas. Okay. Okay. Book Dr. Jim V. Green. Okay. I have Facebook. That's okay. Phone line study for start. Okay. Okay. We continue. Introduction to the courses.
Hi, I'm James Green, and I'll be teaching our course in developing innovative ideas for new companies, the first step in entrepreneurship. Our approach for developing innovative ideas for new companies is threefold. First, we'll explore how to identify and develop great ideas into great companies. Next, we'll examine how to identify opportunities that are based on real and true customer needs. And then we'll discuss methods for developing solid business models for the creation of successful and sustainable companies. Our course is the first in the new entrepreneurship specialization sequence by Coursera. So with our course, we are going to focus on helping students generate an innovative new venture concept or enhance their existing concept. Our follow-on courses in innovation and new venture financing set the foundation for building a comprehensive, customer-validated business model. Our final course, the Entrepreneurship Capstone, is geared towards taking the prior work and putting it into practice, helping students create an investor pitch and presenting a platform for them to compete for prizes and awards, and also to get feedback from experts and investors. Our schedule for the first, second, and third course is 4 weeks per session, of 6 to 12 videos per week, of 6 to 12 minutes per video. You can view the recorded videos and online material whenever you have time available, but we do operate in a cohort model, meaning that our weeks will begin on Monday, and there will be an assignment due the following Sunday. So while you may view the content at any point you want during the week, keep in mind that we do operate on a weekly schedule and that you do have an assignment due at the end of each week. We'll also have a variety of online resources and discussion forums for you as well. And this is a great opportunity to build relationships with students. Many of our courses will routinely enroll over 10,000 students per session, and it's rare that you have the opportunity to access the volume of entrepreneurs and the global footprint of entrepreneurs that we have, with over 75% of our students being located outside of the US. For our capstone course, we want to give you a bit of a preview. In part one, we're going to be developing a business model that will be examining value propositions and customer segments, and again, putting into practice many of the things that have been examined in prior courses. We'll then talk about problem-solution fit and MVPs and doing customer analysis. In part three of the capstone, we'll look at validating that model, and it culminates in a real pitch that is a combination of a written analysis as well as a video of your pitch. And we're partnering with some of the leading entrepreneurs and accelerators in the US and investors to give you feedback on that. So with our course on developing innovative ideas for new companies, we're going to focus on the opportunity analysis canvas. So we're going to be discussing elements like entrepreneurial mindset, motivation, and behaviors. We'll talk about how to analyze industries and markets, what it takes to be successful as you compete against current and expected competitors. And we'll culminate with looking at value innovation and opportunity identification. So this is a landscape of our focus in this first course. So where does this fit? Where does this opportunity analysis canvas fit? Well, you've likely heard of business plans. And you may have heard of the business model canvas, but we begin at the front end of that. So it's in the front end of looking at the opportunity and developing and evaluating an opportunity, a business opportunity for a new venture that we're going to focus our time on. The subsequent courses are going to dive deeper into the business model canvas and the business plan. Our recommended book for the course is the Opportunity Analysis Canvas, and this serves as our guide for the course. It provides some added insights and background and tools beyond video lectures and is available online as an ebook. So in summary, our course has helped over 500,000 students since launching less than 2 years ago. We've helped them explore how to identify and develop great ideas into great companies. We've examined how to identify opportunities based on real and true customer needs, and we've helped our students understand the methods for developing solid business models for the creation of successful and sustainable companies. Entrepreneurship Specialization is a new offering launched in October of 2014, and this provides a sequence to carry forward on the initial ideas that are developed within our course.
Okay. The book, okay. I read it for this week. Yes, read it. Okay. What is entrepreneurship? Who is entrepreneurship? Bookmark innovative company, type innovation, strategy, live from video lesson, challenge TV resources. Okay. So we will see.
What is entrepreneurship? It certainly makes sense to start a course such as ours by really defining the term and understanding what it is and what it isn't. Classical definitions of entrepreneurship are geared towards elements of creation. There's something new that's being built. It may be an enterprise or a business. An enterprise might include a nonprofit or another type of organization where a business is the company. It may have a chance of profit or success. Profit we understand in the context of businesses. Success we understand in the context of nonprofits or other entities or businesses that have goals beyond profit. So why study it? Isn't it something that you simply learn by doing? Or what are the motivations that people have for studying entrepreneurship? Well, one motivation we often hear from students is that of financial and money, and that's fine. That's a fine motivation. I would say that there's also the other side of the coin of likelihood or potential for that monetary success that is lower in startups than in many other careers. But again, if that's one of your ambitions, that's certainly fine. What we also see from students is an element of independence. With entrepreneurship, they want to do something different than what might be out there. They might want to make their own choice and pursue industries and markets and customers and solutions that are personally interesting to them. And they see entrepreneurship as a path to achieve that. Tied to that is an element of freedom. Now, with freedom, it doesn't necessarily mean that you wake up late, you go to bed early, and that entrepreneurship is easy. What it does mean is that you have the flexibility and the choice to do what you would like to do. Now, when you are also working with investors, when you're working with partners, when you're working with customers, you do have a different type of boss in a different format, in a different flavor, but it's not the type of traditional boss that many individuals may have. So an added level of freedom is certainly a motive for entrepreneurship and pursuing entrepreneurship. There's an element of creation, of wanting to build a business, of wanting to build products and build solutions that we see as an attractive for entrepreneurship. There's an element of helping. There's an element of social entrepreneurship that we'll talk about, where you're building businesses or you're building solutions, but they may be combating poverty. They may be combating homelessness. They may be trying to improve education or healthcare or other societal interests that you're trying to achieve with your new venture. So why not entrepreneurship? If there's this thing that you can make money, you can create, you can help, you can have freedom and independence, why isn't everyone doing it? Why in the US, for example, are less than 4% of the adult population entrepreneurs? Well, there is risk. There's risk of time. There's risk of money. There is elements tied to failure. You are likely to fail based on most research in entrepreneurship. There is peer pressure. It may not be the popular thing among your friends or your family. They may see the risk is not worth taking, and that's an added challenge for entrepreneurs. There's an opportunity cost of to take a job somewhere else, of to use your time to generate a more reliable stream of salary and income by other pursuits. So what does it take? We've talked about some of the benefits. We've talked about some of the challenges. What does it take to succeed in entrepreneurship? And this is really the heart of our course. What we're going to be looking at is opportunity discovery. How do you identify a great idea? How do you validate an idea that you may already have as something that has some true entrepreneurial potential? So there's that level of analysis that we'll talk about, of really understanding what's it take to really understand and demystify entrepreneurship and dig in and find great opportunities. We'll talk about decision-making. And before we talk about businesses, we'll talk about the entrepreneur themselves. And so in summary, by first understanding our motives and understanding our goals for the study of entrepreneurship, we have a solid foundation. It gives us this foundation for understanding opportunity discovery, opportunity analysis, and entrepreneurial decision-making, and these are going to be some of the key themes that we'll explore next within our course.
Okay. Who is an entrepreneur?
Who is an entrepreneur? Well, entrepreneurs come in many different forms and fashions. There are lifestyle versus fast growth of the individual that operates a single restaurant, or an individual that may operate multiple restaurants, or a large online food retailer. There are local versus global entrepreneurs, the individual that may have founded and operating a single homeless shelter versus somebody that's developed a global education program for homelessness prevention. There's low tech and high tech. There's the entrepreneur that may operate a small chocolate shop. There's the entrepreneur that may operate a chocolate fountain manufacturing company. There's serial and multiple of the individual that is starting startups in series where they build one and have some success, build the next and go in turn. Or there's the ones that are in parallel of individuals that are doing multiple ventures at the same time. There's startups that are individuals that are initiating the creation of something. Others may inherit a business. Others may buy an existing business. And there are franchises that blend some of those elements as well. For our purposes, all of these are entrepreneurs. Now, the level of risk, the level of profit potential, the path of their experience is going to differ, but we interpret entrepreneurship very broadly that would fall into any of these scenarios. So I'd like to talk with you about a few students that I've worked with in recent years. One is Anthony Castellano with Squarespace, a software entrepreneur. Computer science major, 2004, started Squarespace, 2005 graduated from his undergraduate studies here at the University of Maryland, built a product to really serve his own needs. He wanted a tool that would enable him to build websites without having to code, not having his own coding skills. And it was a tool that he built that allowed others to build websites as well. So in the 10 years since then, he's built this to a 350-person company and actually launched a Super Bowl ad in 2014 at $4 million. So by the time that you can afford a $4 million Super Bowl ad, you're doing pretty well for yourself. And it's a company that we'll talk about a little bit later in the term as well. We also see students do non-tech things. We see students do landscaping businesses. And this was an individual that started his landscaping business at 12 years old. He began to hire his first employee when he was 14 and has over 10 employees now that are working for him and was able to build this into a venture such that he finished his undergraduate studies and stepped out and was generating more income from this business than any other company that he would have received a job offer from. We see students do hardware-based solutions. So this is an emergency warning system that sits at the center of campuses, of large governmental facilities, and it has a platform of services where it provides emergency warnings in the systems of some type of threats, some type of weather emergencies, or other emergency protocols that need to be enacted at a campus or in a large setting, even a corporate setting where there may be multiple buildings that are co-located with one another, or even government facilities, where alerts are sent out to this beacon that the company developed, as well as to email and cell phones and other platforms as well. This was a product of two students, one an engineer, one a business major, that saw a need for a product, built it, and launched it in a hardware and a services platform. We also have a number of students that are involved in services industries. So with this, it's a branding company, a marketing company. And so what LookThink does is they would work with individuals that have a solution. They need to bring a new website to market. They need to bring a new app to market. There's an online media campaign they want to develop. Started with one marketing major that had an idea for a solution, built it, scaled it to over 30 employees within a few years of completing his undergraduate studies. So we want to think about companies that we know, big companies that we know. Which of these do you think are the oldest? Well, if you chose Apple, you're correct. Apple started in 1976. All of these other companies, enormous global companies, have started since then. And we see companies start for different reasons. We see a number of companies that started in the late 70s and early 80s that were driven by a technology opportunity, that being the PC and the home computer. And so when you see technology changes bring themselves to market, there are new companies and new opportunities that come around that. Here's an example with the PCs, here's an example with internet, and you'll see a burst of other companies start as technology opportunities present themselves. What we also want to recognize here is that a number of these companies were started by very young individuals. Apple, Facebook, Google, Dell, Yahoo, the lower half of our screen, all started by college students. All started by college students which didn't have the experience, didn't have the relationships, didn't have the money, but they found success anyway. And we'll talk about how to do that in our course as well. So when we think about how the entrepreneurs, to include some of those that we've just highlighted, built these global powerhouse companies, it didn't start with a business plan. It didn't start with a business model canvas. It did start with the opportunity itself. And so that's why we're going to spend our time in the course really digging into opportunity analysis, really thinking about the entrepreneur, thinking about you and your entrepreneurial mindset and your entrepreneurial motivations and behaviors. What industries interest you? What markets interest you? What value innovations can you develop? And what opportunities can you identify? And when we start with that as our grounding, and when we start with that as our framework, we can then advance towards the end of the course, as well as our follow-on course in the entrepreneurship specialization of the course in innovation for entrepreneurs, and dig into the business model canvas. What that gives you the opportunity to do is really to think about your ideas in the context of a business and give you the beginnings of the business plan. The business plan we'll spend a lot of time with in our third course as we look at entrepreneurial finance and new venture financing. And we'll also spend some time on that within the capstone of our entrepreneurship specialization.
Key motivation.
Entrepreneurship, creativity, and innovation are three words that are often intertwined, and in some instances even used as synonyms for one another, but they are different. And we're going to talk about what some of those differences are. So creativity. Fundamentally, what we're looking at with creativity is the generation of some ideas or solutions that result in a measure of improvement, enhancement, or difference from what is out there. It can be important in thinking in an entrepreneurial context about process improvements or people improvements. When we think about the nature of this creative process, it also varies as well. It's often generated and driven by some background or knowledge. And so by that measure, when we think about entrepreneurship, we generally encourage individuals to think about either their own experiences. Can you start a venture based on your professional experiences, based on your educational experiences, or based on other hobbies or interests that you have? There's an incubation process of really being able to consider and evaluate. And it's often not the first idea or the first solution that you have that's going to be the ultimate winner. It might be the second, third, or fourth idea. It might be a combination of the third idea and the fifth idea. So we want to think about how to iterate and evaluate our concepts and our solutions. The experience is a big piece of it as well that we'll talk about, as well as evaluation of what are going to be your measures of success. What's really going to make a customer value what it is you're bringing to market, and let that guide your determination of what some of your solutions are as well. When we think about developing your creativity, we want to caution that some people think they're either creative or they're not. And that may be true, or it may not be true. But all of us can expand and enhance our creativity, no matter what level we believe we are to begin with. We want to recognize relationships. We want to look for different or unorthodox solutions among elements or among people around us. We want to think about function. We want to think about purpose. We want to think about how people use solutions and where gaps may be in the marketplace. We also want to think about brain and this right brain and left brain concept. With right brain, this is often oriented towards elements of imagination, the creative side. Left brain is more oriented towards this element of analyzing and thinking about problem solving and rational approaches. We want to do some of both as entrepreneurs. We also might want to engage with others and engage with friends and family that we might think are highly creative or highly analytical and bounce some ideas off of them as well. So when we think about this element of creativity, innovation, and invention, they're interrelated. Entrepreneurship may play a role in each of those, or these all may come together to play a role in some entrepreneurial venture. Now, innovation is a fourth word that we've thrown into the mix. What is innovation? Well, there are a number of classic definitions. It might be the act of introducing something that's new. And so new is something that we often hear in the context of innovation. It may be a new idea, a new method, a new device. It may be an implementation, an exploitation of an idea. So it's not only the idea itself, which might be the invention, but the innovation might be bringing that to market or using that idea or doing something with that invention. It may be change that creates some improvement or new dimension of performance. For our purposes, in our course, we'll think about innovation in the context of some commercialized ideas, and that there's something new, the idea itself. There's something inventive in that that's differentiated from what may be in the market, but the commercialization piece we'll use as a standard for how we measure innovation, and that it's actually something that's employed. It's something that's brought to the market. It's something that's delivered to add value in the market. So when you think about innovation in our course, think about some commercialized idea. Think about some applied invention. So in summary, creativity ignites innovation in entrepreneurship. Creativity is geared towards that ability to use imagination to develop something new. It doesn't necessarily have to be brand new, like the light bulb was new, or the steam engine was new, but it has to be sufficiently different than what's out there. Different either in the product itself, or maybe it's some incremental innovation, or there's a new market that's being served. Maybe there's a product that is successful in one part of the globe, but it's not yet really realized or adapted in another part that can be introduced there. So the market that's using it may be new. Or there may be other features or fashions or branding that's new. So when we talk about new, it's not only new product. It's not only innovation at the product level. It can be innovation in a variety of different levels. And when we think about creativity, a couple of things that we want to think about as far as tools to be more creative is, can we connect disparate ideas? Can we see something that works in the restaurant industry that we might be able to apply to the retail industry, for example? Can we think about discovering new opportunities and possible solutions? Can we think about some measure of inventing something new? Or can we think about applying new feasible solutions in new markets in different ways?
Okay.
In our study of entrepreneurship and innovation, we want to take a moment to look at some of the world's most innovative companies. And there are a number of different rankings that come out annually. And in this context, Booz & Company does an annual ranking of the most innovative companies in terms of research and development. And you see companies like Apple and Google, 3M and Samsung, GE, and others that have been ranked in a very quantitative fashion of their percentage of research and development at the company versus their sales. So it's a percentage in R&D based on sales. We see other rankings that are a bit more subjective. Fast Company, a popular magazine and website here in the US, does an annual ranking that is judged by a variety of criteria that includes the number of new products that are brought to market, the level of differentiation from other competitors in the space, elements of branding and other things they do to really differentiate themselves in the mind of customers. And we see what we would expect, the Apples, the Facebooks, the Googles, the Amazons, Square, and Twitter you see here as well. So we see a lot in the technology space that emerges as well. We may see some other companies here that we're a little bit less familiar with. We see universities here. We see bio companies here. We see some retail companies here. So as you have interest in different areas, it's important to think about what are some companies out there that are doing novel things and doing interesting things, and what can we learn from those companies as we seek to build or institutionalize some of those innovations within our own companies or concepts. So Google is certainly one of the hallmark companies here in the US regarding innovation, and you see there's a large innovative culture that's often talked about with Google. This is their office. This is what it looks like when you go to Google. Now, it's not purely people that are riding mopeds in the hallways and playing pool and eating. There is work that's done, and a lot of work that's done. But it's also in a climate where they try and make it fun to be at work. And you can take breaks and engage with employees and be creative in how you spend your day. IDEO, another leading company known exclusively in the kind of product design space. You may not have necessarily bought something from IDEO, but you bought products that they have had a role in developing. This is what the IDEO workspace looks like. Not dissimilar from Google. A lot of it is geared towards design thinking. A lot of it is geared towards creativity. A lot of it is geared towards having a free flow and an interchange of ideas. A lot of group problem solving. A lot of engagement with customers to really help understand their needs and wants along the way. Sony, one of the greatest innovators of all time, which while having some struggles in recent years, has a long history of innovation. So you may not be able to read all of the small font, but what I wanted to illustrate here is that they have been consistent innovators, bringing a variety of new product to market for over 70 years. They did it early on in the context of radio technology, being some of the first to build transistor radios in the world, being the first fully functioning television in 1960, being able to do a variety of new solutions in a variety of new ways, and inventing product after product after product. They've done it time and time again in a variety of microelectronic fashions, in television, in radio, in music, in media, in computer. They've done it more recently in video game technology, bringing the PlayStation to market, and other solutions since then as well. PlayStation 4 is probably their most recent hit that you might be familiar with, and the subsequent PlayStations that continue to come to market that continue to be market leaders. But time and time and time again, they have a culture of innovation and a culture of success that's built on global success in being innovative and in being creative in what they're doing. So in summary, when we think about the world's most innovative companies, they solve problems in different ways. They solve complex problems in different ways. But at the heart of what many of them do is that they have a climate that fosters innovation, where there's an enjoyment and an appreciation for new ideas, where there's not an over-controlling of management, where people are encouraged to do new things, where there's considerable communication with customers, where they generally encourage communication, where they accept change, where failure is okay, where they do accept that with risk and with the challenge of doing new things, there might be failure, that there's selection of employees based on merit, that there's promotion based on merit and not age or not experience alone in terms of years, but more given towards what you've accomplished, and that there's sufficient resources that are geared towards the research and the development. Now, not every company on the list may demonstrate all of these activities at the highest level, but many of them do. And so we want to learn from them and we want to think of them. And even if we are a small team, if we're a one-person team, if we're a 2 or 3 person team, I'd encourage you to think about trying to institutionalize some of these elements as you think about how you manage your meetings, how you manage your company, and how you can develop and foster a culture of innovation.
Okay. Yes. So we finish here and we will continue next time.